Hey, I'm Justin and welcome to the Landis Look, where we take an inside look at the world of real estate. And since it's a new year, we're going to take an inside look at New Year's resolutions, specifically real estate related. But I do love a New Year's resolution. Anyone who knows me knows this is a super common question I ask folks around this time of year, and I love to come up with my own. Some of my personal favorites. I once drank black coffee all year. When you have about 200 coffee meetings a year and you're drinking a latte every time, the black coffee, it actually is a big resolution to cut that out. I read the whole Bible in 1 year. I've done things like a month of no spending, a month of eating vegan, goals around books, goals around exercise. I love to have a New Year's resolution. And one thing that I love for a lot of y'all is that a lot of times people have a New Year's resolution around real estate. The first week of the year is one of my favorite weeks of the year because so many of you reach out to us every year and say, hey, usually don't use the word resolution, but we have a plan or we have a goal this year to do something real estate related, whether that's to buy an investment property, to buy your first house, or to make a move, buy a vacation home. So what we're going to look at today is if your New Year's resolution is to buy a house this year, what should you do to get started? And so I've got 4 simple steps to help you get started. Step number 1 is get your team in place. Probably not going to do this by yourself, and unless you're super experienced, I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that. So get your team in place, the people that are going to help you. I personally think the place to start with that is to get a real estate agent who can help you, guide you through the process, help get the rest of the team set up. So get that person in place. And then the second person that you need to get in place is your lender. A lot of times your real estate agent can help you do that. So get your agent and lender in place because they're going to make everything else easier. And honestly, if you do that step and you have great people helping you, that may be the only step you really need to take. But that's step number 1. Step number 2, you need to know your numbers. And so whether this is you're selling a house and buying another one, whether you're buying your first place or whether you're buying an investment place, there are numbers and finances involved in all of those, and you need to know your own numbers. Some of the biggest ones for that is how much do I want to put down on this house? How much money do I have saved to put down, whether that's investment or for the new property? And secondly, what am I comfortable with from a monthly standpoint? If that's on your personal residence, that's doing your own personal budget, looking at, hey, how much can I afford each month from a housing standpoint? If it's an investment property, you probably have different goals, such as, hey, do I want to have positive cash flow on this? Or if I'm going to fix and flip something, how much can I spend each month as I hold it? But you got to know your numbers, get those numbers in place. So step number 1, get your team. Step number 2, know your numbers. Step number 3, explore neighborhoods. This is often one of the most fun parts of the process, is figure out, hey, where am I going to buy this house? And that, if you're buying your house for yourself to move into, that typically includes things such as commute and schools and parks and things you like to do, other people your family, your friends who live in the area. For an investment standpoint, this has to do with, hey, is appreciation important to me here? Where do I think that this is going to appreciation? Am I going to manage a property myself? How easy or hard is it to get to that place? If you are going to have a rental property and you have good connections with potential tenant pool, like say you're a professor at Emory and you could easily fill a place with PhD students that come into Emory, come into your programs. Well, hey, what sort of neighborhoods do they currently like to live in? Where do they stay? So explore your neighborhood, step number 3. And then step number 4, define your criteria. This one can be hard, but this is, hey, what's most important to you? For most of us, unless we're building our, $3, $4, $5 million custom house, we're not going to get everything that we want in a house and in our location. And so we got to figure out, hey, what's most important to us? And you may have heard me say this before, but what I love to do is you got to figure out those top couple things that are 10 out of 10 for you. Whether it's, hey, we really need a lot of space for our family, or hey, we really need a yard, or hey, I really want walkability, or I really want no commute. When you put those things at the top, it makes it easier to make a little bit of sacrifices on some other stuff to say, hey, this house isn't huge, but you know what? We're getting such a great yard here. We're going to spend time outdoors. I'm okay with a little bit smaller house. And so figure out what that criteria is that's important to you. And once you've done these 4 things, you've got your team in place, you know your numbers, you've explored your neighborhoods, and you've defined your criteria, you're ready to go. That's basically what you need to do to get started if buying a house is one of your New Year's resolutions. And I'm confident if you do those 4 things that you'll make this resolution come true. Versus I've had a lot of New Year's resolutions over the years that they haven't made it out of January, haven't made it to the end of the year. So if buying a house is one of your New Year's resolutions this year, don't let that happen to you in January. Take that first step, get the ball rolling, and you'll end up with a house this year. I'm confident of that. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.